Well, we have got some really interesting new polls that are out there right now from the campaign trail that point to a big concern for American voters and for President Obama's re-election effort. Take a look at some of these numbers. According to the new Washington Post ABC News poll, that's who this came from today, 57% of voters disapprove of the way that the president is handling the economy, which tends to be the central issue in most re-election efforts for presidents. 42% approve, not a good number for the president. Nancy Skinner joins me now, syndicated radio talk show host, and Ben Ferguson of The Ben Ferguson Show. Welcome to both of you. Good to have you here. First of all, what do you make of that 57% number, Nancy?
These polls are so way too early, but here's the problem, Martha. It's all about the economy. It is. And what the campaign and what the 2012 election has to do is remind people that we were in ICU when he took over. Now the patient has recovered and gone through rehab. And so by the time the election comes along, we're going to see a lot of that stimulus money is actually going to be put to work. The economy will be much better, and those numbers will change. And the Republicans, I think, are going to make some crucial mistakes with the debt ceiling and other things that are going to make the general public say that the president is more responsible, and I trust him more in the economy.
All right, Ben is sighing loudly over there, so go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, if this is recovery or rehab, then I want out. I mean, the fact of the matter is the American people aren't buying what the president's selling any longer. That things are getting better. I mean, last summer was remember the summer of recovery? Well, that didn't happen. He said, "Give me $1 trillion about the economy, and I'll make sure unemployment doesn't go above 8%, 8.6%." Guess what? It didn't. It has been the entire time. But at the end of the day, people are driving down the street looking at gas prices that they can't afford, and we have a president that's so out of touch that what does he say? He says, I am going to work on alternative energy, and guess what? You need to buy a hybrid car if you're not okay with $5 a gallon gas, and that's not cutting it with the American people.
All right, well, Nancy may be fairly sanguine about the economy and the future of it, but I want to show you something here, because the president, as we know, is dealing with the debt crisis, with rising gas prices that have people increasingly unsettled, continuing unemployment. Those numbers are still not good. So when a reporter from the Dallas ABC affiliate, WFAA, challenged the president on the support that he's getting around the country, the president got a bit testy. Look at this.
Are you going to campaign in Texas for re-election, or is the state written off?
I never write off any states.
You're not going to write off?
I never write off states, and I love Texas. And let me finish my answers next time we do an interview. All right.
All right. The president said he never writes off Texas. He got pressed. Yeah. Next time we do this, you ought to let me finish answering my questions. He said at the end there, if people couldn't hear that. There's no doubt. I mean, Nancy, these numbers have to have. You don't sit around in the campaign office for 2012, Obama 2012, and look at a 57% disapprove of how you're handling the economy number and feel great about it.
No, but in his defense on that, I have to say, let me finish my answer on this political debate type show, sometimes Food Fight TV every day. This was an interviewer interviewing the president of the United States. You don't cut them off and try and debate them. So in his defense, that was just rude. But you know what? The economy
Well,
changes.
You know what, though? I mean, as we all know, I'm sorry to cut you off, and I'm going to, but, as we all know, when you interview politicians, and, that goes all the way up to the president of the United States, and everybody respects the office, of course. But there are lots of times when the question that you're asking gets sort of the soundbite of the day that folks want to get out there, and that can be very very difficult and very problematic. So obviously people can think what they will when they watch that interview. Some people are going to agree with you, and some people are going to say good for you for pressing him on the point, and the reporter was doing his job.
The president of the United States of America does a very good job
of.
All right, no, when the president's been cut off all during his entire career, Nancy. You look at him when he did the morning shows, when he was running for president. You look at him after he became president. You look at him when he was asked questions by George Stephanopoulos and everything else. I mean, no matter who it is, even if it's the biggest ally of the president, welcome to the real world of politics. Ronald Reagan's been cut off. George Bush has. Bill Clinton. It wasn't rude or out of bounds if you look at how he did it. The problem is this president thinks he's better than the average American. He thinks that he doesn't have to answer the tough questions. And when somebody asks the president a tough question, whether it be about the economy, jobs, or Texas, guess what? You work for the American people, and the president's forgotten that, and that's what he showed right there.
Let's take Nancy. I want your response to these couple of polls.
States with respect.
I hear you. Let's just take a look at a couple of these polls because I want to get your thoughts.
We could look what Reagan was at a certain juncture in his economy. Reagan took over during a recession, and those numbers came through, and he was reelected. Bill Clinton, the same thing, started with a recession.
You know what, we've seen that cycle happen several times. The big question is whether or not this time it's different, and I don't think anybody knows the answer to that question. It feels different in a lot of ways, but let's take a look at a couple more polls because I want to get you guys to weigh in on these. This first one that is coming up right here: will you vote for President Obama in 2012? 28% say definitely will. 25% say they'll consider it. 45% said they definitely will not vote for President Obama in 2012. This is the Washington Post ABC News poll. Nancy, what about that?
Well, but that's on just a referendum on him right now in the economy. When it's, say, Obama versus Donald Trump, I trust you, or Sarah Palin,
Donald's
or Newt
not getting the
Gingrich,
nomination,
or any of the numbers will be completely different. Then there's choices. It's not just how I feel about my economic situation right now and how he's
very
done.
quick,
it's
Ben.
Who's the GOP guy?
The President of the United States of America can no longer sell the country on hope and change when the fact of the matter is the economy is still not doing well. The unemployment rate is still too high. And at the end of the day, with gas prices stay this high and the guy's still talking about alternative energy,
guys, we're gonna leave it there.
What? It's over.
We're going to leave it there, but we'll be back to you because you guys are great and we really appreciate it. It's, you know, these numbers are pretty shocking to many and of great interest to all.